This section is about registering for classes, some tips and the process, and just some basic rules that will help govern your path. Your first semester, most of you will register for classes after completing the Accuplacer Math and English placement tests during on-campus orientation, so we know what English and math classes that you need to take and we can structure your class schedule around these. Once we have worked out your schedule, you will go and visit Student Services to register in the classes that we've selected. If there are any issues or concerns, Mr. Palucci or Ms. Hall will help you make those adjustments. Though most of you will select classes with me during orientation, it's okay to go through your coach, Mr. Jeff Palucci or Miss Allison Hall as well. If while you're selecting classes you feel concerned about something, please speak up. You may not be able to get the perfect schedule, but if you have never taken a U.S. history course and it's suggested that you take one, and you're really uncomfortable with that, speak up. It's okay to voice your opinion. Please make sure that you provide a printed schedule to the Director of International Relations, and if you're an athlete, to your coach. After your first semester, most of you will be assigned a faculty advisor, usually in your field of study. This will be the person that you work with to determine your schedule for the rest of your time at OJC. Though you can request an alternative advisor or be reassigned if you change focus. Pre-registration for spring will open in late October and in late March for the fall. You are responsible for completing your degree plan. Make sure to bring it with you and update it at the end of each semester so that you know what courses you have left to complete. You will always take your registration form to Student Services to complete your registration. Print out your schedule and give it to myself and the coach if you're an athlete. Before you register, it's important to have a few guiding principles. First, you have to be enrolled in a minimum of 12 credit hours to be considered a full-time student and maintain your student status. There are only 2 exceptions to this rule. The first is in your first semester. You can have a reduced course load if there's a language challenge. It takes a lot for this to be the case because we have an English language requirement for admission, but it can happen. The second is if you're in your last semester and only need 6 hours to graduate, you can just take those 6 hours, but you need to graduate. A minimum of 9 hours has to be on campus in a traditional style classroom. You can take classes over this 9 that are online or hybrid style, but those first 9 have to be on campus. Why? Well, if you're taking online classes or hybrids, you really don't need to be in the U.S. You could do that from home in your home country. So to have permission to be here, you have to be enrolled and attending classes on campus. We'll talk about the differences between developmental and academic classes in the next slide, but these courses do count towards your 12-hour minimum, and they all cost the same. Exchange students will have all of your classes in a traditional style classroom. This is a requirement of your program. Hybrids with a lot of contact hours are the one exception, but will require permission from your program. Please don't drop a class without my permission. I'm not trying to be controlling, but I really want to make sure that you don't drop below those 12 credit hours, as it will affect your status and then you'll have a bigger issue to deal with. I brought up developmental and academic classes before, so let's go over what the differences actually are. Developmental classes are for those who, due to their Accuplacer scores in English and math, have to take some more basic classes to be ready to take the college level courses in these areas. Basically, we're trying to make sure that you're set up for success. Developmental classes will always start with a 0, like Math 050. They don't count towards your GPA, they don't count towards graduation, and they do not transfer. Math classes require a C to move on to the next level. English classes do not, unless you're in the prep class. The prep class prepares you to retake the AccuPlacer and then be placed in 092, 093, or 094, or English 121, which is the college level course. Academic courses all start with a 1 or a 2 in the course number. Math 120, for example. They count toward your CGPA, cumulative grade point average, they count toward graduation, and they transfer as long as you pass them with a C or better. There's a special group of academic courses that are more specifically designed for Associate of Applied Science and certificate programs that are available and can be used as electives in the Associate of General Studies course, but not for the Associate of Science or the Associate of Art degree plans. Some are transferable and some are not, so it's important to know these courses in your degree plan. Your advisor or I can help you with this. Now we've talked about the types of classes, let's talk about the class styles. Traditional courses are those taken in the traditional format, with a professor leading a class in a classroom. These classes may utilize D2L, but you will be responsible for attending class on a regular basis in person. These will have section numbers 001 to 007 in the schedule of classes and set meeting times. Hybrid courses are courses that are either all online, taught by an OJC professor, or primarily online with a few or some in-person meetings. There is an orientation at the beginning of the term for these courses that you need to attend. These will be listed as 008 in the schedule and usually TBD or TBA in the meeting times. Short-term courses are courses that start on week 8 and conclude on week 16 with the regular term. These are much more intense as they're teaching a full 16-week course in 8 weeks. The pace is much faster. They are generally only offered in a hybrid format and vary from semester to semester with regard to what is offered. Finally, CCCS online courses are taught through the Colorado Community College system by professors throughout the state. You must log on regularly and submit assignments by the deadline. Professors can sometimes be difficult to reach, and there's limited assistance that OJC can provide if there's a problem. These are generally sections C11 and C22 in the schedule with TBD meeting times. They may also start and end on a date that is different from that of your other OJC classes. During your first semester at OJC, I strongly recommend only taking traditional or hybrid style courses, as in both of these cases, you have a professor on the OJC campus that you can turn to for questions or concerns that you might have. This has extra importance in the first semester, as you are also still learning to navigate the system. While we hope to settle your schedule during registration, you may need to make some changes. During the first 5 days, you can drop or add a class without professor approval as long as there is room in the course. After this, and until day 12, you can drop or add a course with the permission of the professor without penalty. From day 13, your course schedule is settled, and you will be responsible to pay for the courses that you have registered for. You can only add short-term courses at this point, but you can drop a class up until the final drop date. However, you will still need to pay for this course. Again, please note that you should not drop or add a course without the permission of the Director of International Relations. Finally, I want to discuss some basic OJC policies with regard to academics. 1. Your bill is due on the last day to drop or add courses, as your schedule is finalized at that time. Because it can sometimes be difficult for families to transfer the full amount at one time, we will allow students to pay 50% of their bill on this date and the remaining 50% a month later. However, if this is not paid by the second due date, you risk being dropped from your classes, having your meal plan suspended, and not being allowed to pre-register for classes. If you have questions or concerns about payment, please come to speak with me or Mr. Jeff Palucci, the Vice President of Student Services, before the deadline. If you do not attend classes or sign into a CCCS online course in the first week, you may be administratively dropped from this course. Basically, this means that the teacher says you're not coming to class, and they drop you from the course to allow another student to take your place. This creates a great deal of issues, and it can cause you to go under the 12 credit hour minimum. You also must maintain a 2.0 cumulative grade point average, or CGPA, to graduate. If after the first semester you are under a 2.0, you will be put on academic probation for the following semester, which allows you the opportunity to improve your GPA. To maintain your status, you must make progress towards the completion of your program. This doesn't mean that if you fail one class, you're going to get kicked out of the country. But you must make an effort to be successful. Go to class. Seek out assistance if you need it. Everyone struggles from time to time with different things, but speak up and always remember that the key is to move forward. Finally, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. In this module, there are links to the fall course schedule and course descriptions. Go through and pick up to 5 courses outside of English and math that fit into your degree plan that you would be interested in taking this fall. Put your list of courses in the Dropbox when you finish this module. We will be using these as you register for classes on campus this fall.